everyone, it's me back again with another gospel reflection for today. I hope you've all been having such an incredible, amazing day. And I guess for myself, I've been having a pretty good day today. I have a lot going on today. I have a little celebration a little pre-graduation celebration later today with the department at my school, and I also have the last meeting for my club that I'm involved in. So that's also happening later today. So I'm looking really forward to that. But since it's the last one of the year, it's probably going to be really sad and really bittersweet because it's probably going to be the last time that I see some of my friends. So that's really sad, but it's also been an incredible 4 years. But let's get started with today's reflection. So today's gospel was from the book of John, and it was chapter 10, verses 22 to 30. And the context of what's happening here is that it's the Feast of the Dedication. So this is a Jewish holiday that they actually do still celebrate today with a different name. It's called Hanukkah. But what is happening here is Jesus is in the temple area in Jerusalem, and he's just walking and he's preaching to the pilgrims who are coming to Jerusalem for this feast, because it's a pretty important, it's like a happy celebration. And while he's walking, some of the Jewish leaders, like the chief priests, the scribes, the Pharisees, they're coming up to him, they're kind of gathering around him, and they're like, hey, how long are you going to keep us in suspense? If you really are the Messiah, just tell us plainly, tell us straight up. And Jesus has a really interesting answer here. He's saying, I told you, and you do not believe. The works I do in my Father's name testify to me. So what Jesus is basically saying here is, I've basically said so many times who I am. I've identified myself as the Messiah, as the Son of God. He's basically saying, I've given you everything that you could possibly need to believe. That's not on me if you don't believe. It's just because you're not hearing. Your heart isn't in the right place. And he's saying, you are not among my sheep, so that's why you don't believe. And what this means is, in order to be a sheep in the flock of Jesus, you have to be open to following God. You have to be open to believing in God and believing in Jesus. And your heart has to be open to receive God's promptings and from the Spirit. But these scribes and these Pharisees, all these really important Jewish leaders, they're only doubting Jesus because a lot of what Jesus is talking about, he's kind of criticizing their leadership, and that makes them angry. That they're like, he can't be the Messiah if he's criticizing us and we're important Jewish leaders. But they're basically I don't know if he's the Messiah, but I don't think he is because he's saying all these things that we don't agree with. And then Jesus is out here saying, to those who believe, they will believe because they are open to following God. But these leaders, they're pretty hypocritical, and in their hearts, they're not actually open to that. All they care about is their pride and money and all these other things. But this kind of makes me wonder, are there times where I don't truly believe in God? Am I having a hard time believing in Jesus and understanding who he is? Because sometimes it is a really hard concept to understand. And what that makes me think is I just need to pray even more, and I just really need to bring my heart to a place where I am fully open to receiving his call and fully open to believing in him. And I've heard this thing once where you have to think about the state of your heart. Where is your heart right now? Is your heart inclined towards the world and just becoming popular, having a lot of friends, being really successful? Or is your heart inclined towards God? Or is it just in a neutral state where it doesn't care about anything? So what you need to do is you need to make sure you incline your heart towards God, because that way you really set your eyes on him, you set your entire focus on him, and you prioritize him. And only in that way are you able to fully, truly accept Jesus and fully accept God into your life. And something else that I really liked from this passage, Jesus is talking about his sheep, which is us, the believers. And he says, no one can take them out of my hands. my Father who has given them to me is greater than all, and no one can take them out of the Father's hand. So what Jesus is saying here is, if you follow Jesus, you obey his commands, and you are within his flock, then Jesus will protect you, and no one can take you away from him, and no one can take you away from the Father. And that just makes me feel so secure. It makes me feel so safe, because that's what Jesus is protecting us. He's protecting us from all these other things in the world, and even after that, he's protecting us by granting us eternal life with him and the Father in heaven, which is so, so incredible. And the really interesting thing about this that's not really said, but you kind of have to kind of dig into it. He's saying no one can take the sheep out of his hand, right? But he doesn't say anything about the sheep willingly leaving themselves. And so what's important here is that Jesus and God, he is a gentleman. He is giving us a choice. So we can either choose to follow Christ and live with him and have our entire focus be on him, or he's giving us a choice to leave and be like these other Jewish leaders and all these the Pharisees who don't really want to listen to him and accept what he's saying. But the fact that he gives us a choice is so different and so unique, but that's also true love. He's giving us a choice to be with him. And that's this choice that I offer to you guys as well. Do you want to accept Christ into your lives and be able to have that pure love from the Father and be able to be completely protected and safe and within his care and his arms? Or do you want to choose something else? And that's a decision that everyone makes for themselves, but I really encourage you to run towards the Father, because his arms are always outstretched towards you, and he's always loving you no matter what happens. And with that, I hope you guys have an incredible day, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Bye!